The MMA fortune teller.
The teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller, the teller.
What's up, you guys? The Ultimate Fighter Season 29, Episode 6 recap. First and foremost, I do want to apologize for getting this video out to you guys a little bit later than I'd like to. I usually like to get these videos out to you the Wednesday or Thursday prior to the actual episode, but we're filming this here Friday. It's been a hectic week. We got UFC 264 on the horizon. It's been consuming a lot of my time here, and I just been very excited for this fight card. I hope you guys are as well. But nevertheless, here we are. Before we get into today's episode, I also want to just put a little side note out there. I just recently uploaded an interview with Peter Barrett, Slippery Pete. It was a previously recorded MMA live discussion episode that was posted on Instagram, but it was just posted here on YouTube for the first time. Peter Barrett's an ex-UFC fighter that's trying to work his way back to the UFC. I think he's a very interesting and cool guy, very cool, down-to-earth guy that is trying to work his way back to the UFC, and he's fighting this upcoming Saturday, the same night as UFC 264 goes down. So, yeah, there probably won't be a lot of eyes watching him over there. I believe it's over in Cage Titans. I believe the name of the promotion is called Cage Titans. It's taking place at Plymouth, Massachusetts. Keep an eye on that fight, though, just in general. Whether, you just, check Tapology, see how that fight took place afterwards, or if you want to rewatch it later online. Because Peter Barrett's a really awesome dude. And if you do see that interview, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But, yeah, so episode 6, we had Ricky Turcios taking on Dan Argueta, two very tough, talented bantamweight fighters. Ricky Turcios being a guy that had previously fought in Dana White's Contender Series. He was very young at the time. This was his chance for redemption because he did lose that fight, didn't get the contract. He's grown a lot, and now he wanted to prove it. And then you got Dan Argueta, the 5-0, very tough, hard-nosed wrestler that a lot of people are extremely high on. The number one bantamweight pick for Team Ortega here. This guy, is a guy that people hold in high regards. So going into this fight, just giving you some background here. Going into this fight, these guys they were very cordial. No bad blood, just two guys, that were strictly here for business, just coming to deliver a solid fight and try to get themselves inside the UFC. We had the prank, the seasonal prank that they do. And on every season of The Ultimate Fighter, there's always this one little goofy thing they do. If I'm being quite honest, I think this was one of the more cringy ones. It seemed a little bit forced. And basically what happened was Team Ortega put Volkanovski's vehicles, their team's vehicles, on jacks, jacked them up, took the tires away, and then put a bunch of donkeys out there for them. And it seemed strange. It almost seemed like Volkanovski was more happy about the prank than anybody. He was laughing about it. They were fist bumping Team Ortega's team as they pulled up in the Jeep in the parking lot. So it was really just all for fun. You could tell these guys. I really find it hard to buy in the bad blood that they've been trying to market as of recently between Volkanovski and Ortega. These guys are just good dudes. I think that for the most part that are just looking to be the best fighters that they could be, and I just don't really buy into the bad blood that has since been kind of brought up, on the Joe Rogan Experience as Volkanovski was on there, and I don't know. So Volkanovski is going to be doing some type of prank coming up now, and coming up in the near future. We'll see what he does. But again, we're in my opinion, I'm here for the fights, right? So Ricky Turcios, Dan Argueta. This was the fight. As I said earlier, this was one of the better fights that we've seen on the show so far. These guys really did throw down, and the first round kicked off. Ricky Turcios was pumping a nasty jab, throwing that lead leg with some nasty high kicks, throwing a lot of kicks with that lead leg, and he's a very diverse striker, I would say, is Turcios. Not the most typical type of fighter, not a guy that just really bites down on his mouthpieces and throwing overhand hooks. This is a guy that really doesn't throw a lot of power punches, more just straight jabs and these weird kind of little step-in hooks, but not with a lot of power. Just throws his kick and then steps in with the hook after it. Kind of has that traditional martial arts type of striking, almost like some karate-based type striking. And I think it paid dividends for him. It kicked in the later rounds. I do think that Ricky lost the first round. Dan Argueta, with the more orthodox boxing type of style, throwing those power hooks, getting in on the inside, he really did some damage in the first round. He also got a takedown. So Argueta wins the first round. Then as we move to the second round, you see Turcios looking to be the more fresher fighter in there, in my opinion. And he started to land a lot more straight shots, started to stuff a lot of Argueta's takedown attempts, and was making him pay with elbows and stuff like that, really, scoring points in that manner, throwing some knees in the clinch at times. We go into the third round. In my opinion, I really felt Turcios was going to take this fight over. He seemed to be the much more fresher fighter, and that's what happened. Same thing, stuffing the takedowns, looking sharper on the feet, and then even ending the third round on top, getting on stacking Dan Argueta's guard and just raining down shots like crazy. So Ricky Turcios takes the third round there and does his patent little breakdance to a Street Fighter type of thing, whatever you want to call it. And I was happy to see him get the victory. I was rooting for him going into this fight as they showed a little bit of the backgrounds, of course, prior to the fight. Ricky Turcios, a real family guy. He has his girlfriend, just a very chill type of guy. This guy doesn't take himself too serious. I like his vibes. I like the vibes he gives out. Dan Argueta, nothing against him, but a more serious guy. Just a strictly down to business type of guy is Dan Argueta. And I was more happy to see Turcios get the victory here. But again, Dan Argueta, I truly believe he will be back. I think that his wrestling and his strength could give a lot of guys trouble in the division, certain guys. I really do believe that Ricky Turcios has been putting his game together, though, and he's an underrated fighter at this point. I think that we will be able to see that moving forward. We'll see how far Turcios goes throughout the show. But Turcios is a guy that's diverse on the feet, but also has been wrestling since he was young. You see the takedown defense. He can grapple. Has nasty jiu-jitsu. You saw him throwing out submission attempts off his back, working his way back up. He's a well-rounded fighter. So I think that was a high-caliber fight, taking place in the Ultimate Fighter, and I think that both those guys have the potential to be fighting in the big show. So we'll see if Argueta gets another opportunity on the Ultimate Fighter finale or however they work with him. But we will see more from him. I truly believe that. He promised his father that he'd be in the UFC by the age of 28. He's only got about a month or so I don't know if that's how that's going to work out for him, but just get to the show. It doesn't have to be by 28. Just get to the big show and get your hand raised in the big show. I think he should focus on that more so. Don't stress about the date. But yeah, Ricky Turcios moves through to the next fight. He'll be working his way through the bracket. So the bantamweight division, or the bantamweight bracket of this tournament is pretty good, man. A lot of good fights on the horizon as well. And now moving forward, up until week 7, episode 7 of the show, we're gonna have a solid fight in the bantamweight division once again. We're gonna have Brady Hiestand taking on Josh Rettinghouse. Two guys that are actually friends. These are guys that have trained together over in Washington. Brady is a guy, we saw Michael Chiesa spend some time with him when he came and visited the show. A lot of people are very high on this kid. A diverse fighter, has submission abilities, can strike, kind of a new age type of fighter, only 22 years old, growing up over there with that type of talent around him over in Washington. Trains over with Sick Jitsu, likes to call it, but over there in Spokane, and he's born in Spokane too, so he's a guy that's from around that way, like I said, from when he was a kid, so people are high on him. As a professional, he is 5-1, 5-1, and with that one loss coming by way of finish in the third round against Chad Enheliger over at Rise FC. Chad was an undefeated fighter, I believe, 9-5. Chad was a 9-5 type of fighter. So I think that Brady has to prove some stuff to us. His opponent, on the other hand, Josh Rettinghouse, is a guy that's really been around the block. I was familiar with him before, going into this season. 16-5 as a professional, only 31 years old as well. So he's gonna have a lot of experience here. He did lose his last fight over in M1, but before that, it's been really handling business over there in Russia, which is no joke. He's fighting some warriors over there. Stepped into the cage with guys like Marlon Moraes, had a victory over Alexis Villa over in World Series of Fighting. Alexis Villa, former Bellator fighter, very talented fighter. So, I mean, there's no question that the experience is for Rettinghouse all day. And that's kind of been the narrative of a lot of these fights, man. You see these guys that have more experience fighting guys that don't have as much experience. We saw that in the bantamweight fight between Dustin Lampros and Vincent Murdoch. That was another fight where you saw that experience come in. So you know what? It's been hard to pick these fights, but I'm going to give the edge here to Josh Rettinghouse. You know, these guys, they have some experience with each other. Rettinghouse has the experience edge. I'm going to say that he probably wins this fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if this guy Brady shows up. People are high on him. Let's see what he's about. Should be a good fight. And that would be taking place, of course, again on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday. And so that's going to be the recap of this episode. Try not to make it too long for you guys. You know, like I said, it's been a very busy week for me here, so I apologize if this video wasn't up to par for you guys, but I promise you the next one will be a little bit sharper for you guys, and I'll get that out to you Wednesday morning, the day after the episode is aired. But again, a lot of big fights coming up on this show. A lot of big fights. As we move through the brackets, we're going to have some big time fights that we're looking forward to. So I'm excited for those. I hope you guys are as well. You guys all enjoy the Saturday's big card, UFC 264. Make sure you're following me on Instagram because I'm going to be all over Instagram Live, probably starting tonight. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this card. I'm going to be there to answer questions for you guys. Maybe I'll hop on late tonight or tomorrow early. Either way, though. But catch me on Instagram, MMA Fortune Teller _. You can catch me on Twitter as well, the MMA Teller, for my quick thoughts. I just throw them on Twitter. And please like this video. Appreciate you guys. All right, signing out. Teller.
The MMA Fortune Teller.
The teller.